Oh, here we go. What up? What up? What up, Thou? Glad to be here on a Wednesday going into more college football. We already got DX Filer in the house with us. We already got people going. Oh, I got things going on all over here. How y'all feeling today? What's going on, Big Ragoo? Let the people know how you feeling today.
I feel anytime I wake up in the morning and I put my feet on the ground, it's a good day. I chalk that one up for a great start. And then, of course, we'll see how the rest of the day goes by the end of the night. If I got some extra money in my pocket, it's a great day. Here we go. Sorry about that, guys.
How about you, Conor Mac? See Mac in the building with the Wu-Tang, cash rules everything around us. See Mac, how you feeling today, my bro?
Feeling good. Same as a groove. Let's roll, man. We got it's week 4. I'm thinking week 3, but technically week 4, right?
Does it feel like a week 4 yet?
No, but at least we're getting some big boys to play here. It's feeling a little. We're inching closer here to getting some big teams and some good games here. So, which will be interesting because real quick, these SEC games are going to be a little bit weird because they have those warm-up games. These teams, they're going straight in divisional games. So it's going to be a little, with all the COVID, be a little weird. So we'll get into it.
No doubt.
Well, before we jump into all that good stuff, and that's the reason why we're on this show every Wednesday, 6 p.m. on the West, 9 p.m. on the East. And that's exactly why we're here today, to take a little look at what happened last week around the league and also take a look into what's going forward. So before we get into all that good SEC stuff, because Big Ragoo got some good stuff for you, I got some stuff, my man C-Mac got some stuff. So before we do that, let's take a look back into last week. Now, top 25 here last week. First up, Clemson blew out Citadel. Now, not much to say about a blowout like that, but I heard a lot of comments about people that had Clemson to beat them by 49 just fall short of the spread right there in a blowout game. That had to be a nail biter, a disappointer, and all that. But then jump over to Notre Dame. Man, I'm so sad that I contemplated Notre Dame so much that I should have went with my Wednesday look. Yeah, Wednesday look.
I'm not.
I ran back the tape. Wednesday look, I was like over. I was like, Notre Dame's Book's gonna get a chance. I mean, everything that I said, it came true. It just was an opportunity for Book to do something that he usually don't do. I think he had 3 touchdowns on the ground. Like, we've been trying to get this guy to run the ball for so long. So that was a bummer, but it was nice that Notre Dame did win. They were supposed to in that one. This Tulsa, Oklahoma State. What did y'all think about that game?
You want me to talk about that for about 1 minute? I'll give it 30 seconds because that's all it's worth. All the hype on Oklahoma. It's not time to push the panic button yet on the Big 12 because if we look back to Group of 5 the first week and then last week with the other thing and Oak State, getting to play. Some of these teams, still haven't got off on the board yet to play, but for the most part, yeah, it's going to be a lot more of that kind of stuff going forward. With the lack of practice, with delays, all that stuff. So, you're going to have to expect the unexpected right here. So you might take a week or 2 off in that conference just to kind of see how things start to put back together. So I think, overall the conference is going to be okay. Just a little slow starting.
Well, I mean, I've seen tremendous defense out of Tulsa. Now, is that real to move forward? Do I carry that on into the season? But at the same time, a lot of cappers, Noli No was one called me before the game, and we spoke about the game. He had the first half under in that one. And we both looked at it at, one of those, that's an in-state rivalry. Even though the schools are outclassed and all that kind of stuff, that's an in-state rivalry, and that's what you get in college football. So I don't know. You can't really take deep look into that. Like, if you really watched the game and you saw something in Tulsa, then maybe you want to write it. But
don't forget the Oak State quarterback went down. The guy coming off the bench was atrocious, so that didn't help matters for them. So I think on the second series or third series, the quarterback went down. And
I think that was, if that's played a few months later, I think points are rolling. These teams aren't really ready. Their offense.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Lesson learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now another interesting one is UCF and Georgia Tech. So a lot of people on different sides of that one, and kind of was like a little blowout. I didn't get a chance to keep my eye on the game. Looks like UCF got out to a start and never turned around, according to the scoreboard. But I didn't get a really chance to check it out. What was your take on that one, Big Ragoo? I know you the Central Florida king.
Yeah, that was my best bet of the day last week, and they kind of went to form. I guess they didn't miss a beat. Looked like on offense and defensively. They played a pretty good game. Georgia Tech, coming off that big win at FSU, I figured, it might be a letdown spot, so to speak. But, Georgia Tech, they put up a valiant effort. They scored like 21 points, which I kind of expected them to be in the 20s. And I figured UCF would be in the 40s, somewhere in that range. So I figured it was a double-digit win. I thought that was a bargain, a steal at 7.5 last week.
You nailed it, Ragoo. But Georgia Tech, 5 turnovers. I think the game would have been a little bit closer. But True. You were on the right side, and that was right. I reached there. At the end of the day, I was doing pretty good after that Marshall cover, and I had a little money line too. So, I had Georgia Tech. Probably should have not gone there, but you
got
to go with your captain, brother. It all works out.
Yeah. Yep.
Now the next one that was I really brought me back in the second half of the day was that Miami Louisville game, and I think I capped that one to a T right there. That I didn't know exactly, but I can't lie. When I first watched the first quarter, and I seen how high flying the wide receiver and the quarterback action was, I said, okay, this is what everybody see. So, it's a public view. They score a lot. That could always be deceiving. You know what I mean? But they had no front line. Miami defensive line ate that thing up. Quarterback never could get rhythm, and it was just it was a good game. I enjoyed it.
Turnovers,
but turnovers. Yeah. All the turnover chain was definitely getting pulled out back and forth all the way to the end of the game. But what's your take on Louisville following this game? Where do you go on Louisville from here? Because a lot of people were heavy on Louisville to beat Miami outright. So where do we go now? Have they been exposed?
A little bit. I think I don't know. They played really bad. The defense was just, those breakdowns were just, come on. A couple of those were walkers. There was nobody there, on a few of those plays it was just, But they got the talent. I don't think it was that far off. Miami came to play, and they showed up on the road and played great. So hats off to them. But like Louisville this week's at Pitt, and they're 3-point dogs. So maybe we'll touch on that later. That game I kind of looked into. But we'll see how they bounce back coming from that. And Miami, like you said, King played solid. Defense played well. So, if you're a Hurricanes fan, you got to be pretty excited a little bit after these first 2 games. Already 2-0. So
I think they shot themselves in the foot on the turnover side. They did give it up points wise. I got some concerns for Miami's defense too, because Louisville, they still had well over 500 plus yards. And like over 20 some odd first downs. And, I'm not even going to call it garbage time because they were chasing the whole time, but there was a lot of extended drives on Louisville's part that kind of, it was almost like the same game last year. I think they were like the 3 points or whatever was a short number. And Miami did the same exact thing last year they did this year to them. So
I see what you're saying, and I hear a lot of stuff because I listen to all those podcasts and crazy stuff, and I hear a lot of stuff saying the main thing people took away from that game was that King is the guy for Miami that hasn't been present there for a long time, which I think is a lot overrated.
Yeah,
the guy they just happen to block for him well, which allows him to do what he had to do. He didn't have to make great decisions or nothing like that going down the thing. But, their big takeaway is King's our guy. And I even heard somebody said he's the guy that can get him to a national championship. And I'm like, man, the guy only played a couple games. He's been sitting on the shelf for a year, basically. And you're going to say this guy's going to take you. He's not.
That's the Miami fans.
Yeah, some Miami stuff.
They're living in the '90s, but Miami's solid. They listen. When Lashley's doing with that offense, he's doing nice work down there. So no complaints. I got no knocks on what's going on. Until it ain't broke, don't fix it. So they keep running through their progressions, and they're giving some nice looks, and they're getting some good production. So we'll see when they play. Somebody a little bit more defensively stout. We got to play us this week, so we'll talk about that later.
Well, I'll tell you this. Mark me to it. I'm going to write it down. I'll probably lose the note that I wrote it down on, but the line of Louisville was exposed in that game for the future. In any matchup where the defensive line is stud, I'm fading them because they really crumble that pressure from that Miami line. And when you can control the game on defense from the front line, it just makes it wonderful for everybody else. But at the same time, I agree exactly with Big Ragoo is saying. I mean, they scored 34 points on them, so that tells you right there that
you talk about their offensive line or their defensive line.
I'm talking about Miami's defensive line, but Louisville's offensive line. But Miami's defensive line allowed 34 points on them. So I agree with you saying about like Miami looked good, but they not solid like that. But let's jump into another game that I liked. Was a close one for me. I was on the right side, but I was on the wrong total, and they went into overtime. And that was the Raging Cajun versus Georgia State, who was stepping in the AM, and Georgia State rose to the occasion and took hold of that game kind of early. And Louisiana had to really put up a fight, but Louisiana offense really opened up. May have learned a few tricks and got a little better at some things, happened to go down the stretch. But the under looked is so sweet at the beginning and caught up to me. I mean, right at the end of the game when it was tied, it was like, it was still under, but one score puts it over. So, it was a close one for me, but I enjoyed that game right there with Louisiana and Georgia State. I like that I could trust the team who was predicted to come play ball even during these COVID times and all that, to really step to the plate, to play a team like Louisiana, who had already played, a semi-quality team in Iowa State, and to rise to the occasion and at least give them a run for their money was good. And, I got the cover on that side, but I really wanted the total in that one.
Yeah, my worry about that game was a little bit of a letdown spot, even though I kind of figured Napier would keep him a little bit more focused. But for the most part, I'm not going to call it a letdown, but it was a game where they could have, they could have easily lost, but they rallied back. So I think moving forward, coming up this week, they got to play Georgia Southern, I believe. Mm-hmm. And I think it'd probably be a get right spot to kind of work the kinks out for them here.
Yeah, I got to look on that one too. We'll talk about that one later. I don't know about that, Big Ragoo. I don't know, but let's jump into this stunner right here. Kind of kicked me right in my side in this Appalachian State and Marshall game. Conor Mack, man, you were all over that one.
Yeah.
Tell us how you did it, because I see where I lost it with. That was probably one of the worst bets that I had on the card, because the coach is not tested. The interim coach coming in is not always the guy, even though he knows the system, the players, and all that. And, throughout that whole game, you just didn't see that oomph in Appalachian State at all. Now, no takeaway from Marshall. Marshall played a good football game and did what they were supposed to do. But Appalachian State, I say Marshall really let them hang around for a long time. You know what I'm saying? Before they took advantage of them. And Appalachian State being who they are and what they stand for and the type of ball play that they played over there prior to this guy taking over, you couldn't leave the gate open that long. Those guys would have definitely shut that gate. And Marshall ran away with it, man. And I wish I was on your side, Conor, but I compiled some parlays and I had them straight. Kind of hit me for quite a few units messing around with Appalachian State.
Yeah, I watching that game against Charlotte, the biggest thing for Marshall I saw was how great their defense played. His points the game was kind of boring. It did, they played well, but that when he knocks the ball out of the receiver, they're about to score. That was huge. Appalachian State was probably going to score there. I think the game was going to get tight. I think it was going to be 17, 20, and that was real huge. And they played great down the stretch. I wasn't impressed by Marshall's offense and Appalachian State. I can't believe they only put up 7. So, but that's all. I didn't think the game would be that low scoring, but I thought Marshall, from their team, I thought they were just such a live dog at home there. And they came through. So
that was a hot pick.
So yeah, it was good. At least they got a good one there.
I like it.
Blind squirrel finds a nut, every once in a while.
I use that saying all the time.
Now, next game was kind of interesting too, and that was Syracuse and Pittsburgh. Now, I kind of stayed away from this game. Syracuse didn't really put up much offense, but they did show some resistance in this game to some point of view. But Pitt kind of had their way, midway in the game with them. What do you guys think about that game? Or were you guys on that game?
I had, and it was late. I put that in right before when we were talking, right before game time. We talked about the 3 touchdowns and the hook. So I had to take Syracuse, and they hung in, but Pitt's D line, they were the dominant team. I just didn't love Pitt being that big of a favorite, as we talked about on Saturday, as it was over a 3 touchdown favorite. That's just not their role. So I didn't like it. And Syracuse hung in. Yeah, they hung in. Go ahead.
Yeah, they don't score a lot of points usually, Syracuse. Mm-hmm. I mean, Pitt, they're usually like a 20 to 21, 21, 22 points on average. Syracuse, they're, like we said last week, they were playing a similar game the week prior, so it kind of set them up good for that role, I think. So I lean Syracuse in that one also.
Yeah, you did. I know. We were talking about it, so that was one of the ones I put in right at the end there. We were talking, so glad I did.
Well, overall, I went 5-4. I guess my motto of "Don't panic" held in because I had to come back the second half. I was 2-3 the first half, and then I kind of evened it out. So I did walk away, just paying the juice because I didn't walk away with no money, but just walked away with paying the juice in college football and tossed it all over into the NFL, pal. But let's go into this week college football. The good stuff. Now, we getting the SEC back. Many will tell you that this is when college football starts. But we've been going for almost 4 weeks now, and it's been a fun ride. And bringing the SEC just brings a whole lot of trouble, but I like trouble. But let's take a look at the SEC card this week real fast. We'll run through them. If you guys have any looks on any of the teams that we speak of on here, y'all go ahead and help and share with our chat right here. Once again, we got Gerald Martinez in here. We got Fat Wally. We got Michael D. Maria in the house. Bull K's in the house. He says he's Bama for his lungs. Bama versus Florida first half. Okay, I like it. We'll talk about that. And a bunch more out here watching us right here on odds.com. If you have not yet hit the like button or the subscribe button, just take a little time. Hit that for us. It helps us out a lot. So let's keep it moving. Let's go into this SEC coming into this. So before we dip into the games, okay, anything outside looking in with the COVID, the way the SEC handled the situation, the positioning of the season, the national championship, anything of those type of things, you guys have an edge or a look on coming into this?
I got one thing on it. I wrote an article. I think it's going to come out tomorrow on the SEC, the setup for the season, and then break down the Carolina and Tennessee game. But basically, the SEC in a nutshell is a 10-game season. They each have They each have December 12th off. Everybody's off December 12th. They're going to use that. They have a bye week and December 12th. They're going to use December 12th as a makeup week if they have any COVID games. And then also the the following week is the SEC championship. So it's a week off December 12th for makeup games, and the week prior going into the December 19th game for the SEC championship, and 1 week by all conference games, no out of conference games.
Yeah. Now, the SEC, they're playing 10 games. I see a big discrepancy, and this is a little off where we were going with this, but I don't understand this. A big discrepancy with the Big Ten coming back playing 8 games, ACC, SEC playing 10 games, and then if we go into a college championship playoff series, including the conference championship, I think that it's going to be lopsided in there somehow. Is it to the advantage of the teams that's only playing 8 games, or to the advantage of the teams that's only playing 10 games? Because the teams that are playing 8 games are going to have to go 8-0.
Well, the committee is going to screw it up somehow or another anyway, so that's a moot point, more or less.
Yeah, I was going to say.
So it doesn't matter. 10. But, I guess whatever their grading system is, we already know that the top 10, probably 5 or 6 of the teams from the SEC without even playing a game are in the top 10 right now. So, but that's all going to shake out in about a week or two, and then we'll be on to the races then. But for the most part, you're going to have the Big 12. I mean the Big 10. You're gonna, you're probably gonna have Ohio State propping up and one other team there, and then you're gonna have 5 or 6 from the SEC, and then you might have a group of 5, maybe finally. If Oklahoma doesn't show up or Texas doesn't show up from the Big 12, we might get a group of 5 that's what I want to see. I want to see a group of 5 team in the national spotlight this year and the playoff.
That's what I'm saying. I like that too. I'm in for all the extracurricular activities going on into this college football thing. But yeah, that's going to be a tricky situation going down the stretch. But people are going to continue to take a look at that. Every week. Just it's more rhetoric to talk about. So you'll hear it every week on how the playoffs and everything is going to turn out. But as cappers, we look a little more into each game where we can make some money. But right absolutely. Here, first off, Kansas State, Oklahoma. We watched Kansas State come out before. Oklahoma's coming out. Supposed to be a pretty good year for Oklahoma this year. What you guys think about this game? Oklahoma's laying 27.5 and the over-under at 60.5.
I don't want no part of that game.
Shoot. Throw it out of there. How about you, Conor?
Yeah, I don't love how K-State played against Arkansas State, but this one I want to look into a little bit. I just think it's a lot of points. We'll see. Are the Sooners really for real? Because all year last year, and even the last probably 3 or 4 years, they can't cover at home. Oklahoma, they always got these massive spreads, and they just can't cover. They win the game, but you just take that other team plus 30, plus whatever. They just haven't been able to cover. So I lean K-State here. I'm going to dig deeper into it, but that's my first lean on this game. What about you, boss?
I look at it as Oklahoma, they're supposed to win the game. I agree, 27.5 is a bit up there, but they're supposed to be a team, they don't really play much defense, but they love offense. But the defense has been getting better over the years, so it just has – we got to take a look at them on
the point. You're right. That's the point. You're right, brother. That can Oklahoma stop? If they can make stops,
they tried it.
Yeah, they couldn't make stops. If they can make stops, they could cover this 27.5 or 28. But yeah, if they're not, they won't cover this game, I think. So you're right. Sorry to interrupt you.
No. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
Listen, last year what they tried to do is they tried it. They tried to get it early, and spots they looked really good early, and then they faded down the stretch, and then they came back towards the end of the season a little bit. But for the most part, not too impressive.
Hey, let me tell you, Conor, I like to have barbershop type conversations. So you could jump in and out.
Okay.
You could jump out your seat, whatever, We just talking. Cool. We just having some fun. You know what I'm saying? Cool. But moving forward, Florida and Ole Miss. Now, this is a game I kind of want to take a dive in, but I'm already set on the teams that I want to have action in this first week in college football in the SEC. This is not one of them. Florida, Ole Miss. Florida's favored by 14 points. The over and under comes in at 57. What you guys think about this?
I think it's a tricky spot for the Gators to get to that number. We know that Lane Kiffin has been in the SEC before. He's coached against some of these teams. He's the game's at home. It's a big number, to get out of the gate. I know a lot of people are on Florida. I would definitely tread lightly here. Definitely the Gators are the more talented team, but the thing about the Gators, they're a little they're deceptive on their run game. They went from I think they were getting like 2 yards, yards after the contact was like ridiculous. Down like they weren't getting a lot of yards after contact with the run, and they put Trask in more of a passing type offense. So they're running. I think they're going to have to rely more on the run this year versus the pass. And I think Kiffin is very good at scheming, and I know he's brought in somebody on the defensive side. I don't have the name right in front of me, but I know it's a pretty good coach that they got, because last year they had the coach before Kiffin got there. He kept him. You talked about the Ole Miss defense last year. They were pretty good. Ole Miss's defense was pretty good. So I think Kiffin is going to kind of. I would take the hook with the 14 and lean on Mississippi in this game.
Wait. I think last year though, that's a lot of memory for me to keep. But I think last year that Ole Miss defense had a bunch of seniors on it, and that's why I was on that Ole Miss defense because of the seniors. So those guys are gone. So he starts fresh going into his defense. So I don't know if I had to take a bet in that game. Anytime Kiffin is around, I lean towards the over.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. What is the total in that one?
It's 57 right now. Well, this is just basic spreads. I don't know what the movement is, but 57 over here.
57. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not big on the big numbers first week out. Just that was the thing. I'm not big. Double digits, especially in the SEC. Double digits. That's a tough conference to be double digit favorites come week one. And there's some big ones. When you start talking about them, you'll see how many huge numbers are in the SEC this week.
Yeah, I'd take Ole Miss in these points. I'd gobble them up right now before it drops. I think this could drop to 13, 12. Florida's got a real lot of hype here with Mullen. They got a great defense. Of course, they're quick, but Kiffin is pretty good as a dog coach. I'm not high on him, that big. I never have been, but I take these points here sooner rather than later. I think with the Rebels at home, it should be hyped up. They paid him a boatload of money. That'd be my look here in this game.
Well, the line shot up from like 11.5. Probably lightly traded number when it first opened, and everybody made their adjustments. But you're probably right. You're probably going to see a little pushback at 14 there, I would think.
I think so too.
No,
I lean a little over, as you guys spoke. But it's first week. This is why they didn't play Citadel or Austin P. They're going straight into. So I would take the points as they're not at home. I know it's a little different college without the fans, so we got to keep that in mind, and we got to keep in mind the COVID because I think Florida had 4 kids test positive. I don't know. You got to keep. That's why it's so hard. We're kind of doing this Wednesday, but it's so hard to. You got to stay on top all week right up to game time because they got to take multiple tests.
Yeah,
so they take. So
Tuesday test, Wednesday test, Friday test. You really don't know nothing until Friday. I believe that's why they're not having games on Friday, because Friday's a big testing day. So we haven't seen very many games on Friday. So they got the testing thing going. But let's keep it moving into a team that I got my eye on. Kentucky versus Auburn. Now, Big Ragoo know, because we did a whole preseason thing before, that I'm high on returners. I'm definitely high on returners in college. Now, right here, Stoops gets 8 on offense, 7 on defense. Now, on quarterback is kind of suspect. He got Terry Wilson coming in to help the passing game a little bit. Now, this team is looking forward to going back to how they were 2 years ago when they were able to throw the ball a little bit better. Now, mind you, this team was ATS last year, 10-3. So this is just a one that the line setters are not quite on, top notch, or they just happen to be playing a little better ball than we think. But I give them an A on offense. Even though the quarterback situation, they're returning 4 on the offensive line in an already stud group that they have right now. And then at running back, they got a trio that they roll out of the backfield because they had all their passers and everything were down last year. They had to move over into running the ball more, develop 3 strong backs, plus they recruited some nice backs to go with that. The only question could be the wide receivers. These wide receivers were used to blocking and stuff downfield. Well, this year they're looking to catch the ball a little bit more. But so this could be a catch-22 because there's nothing better than a wide receiver that could block downfield. So if they took a whole year off running the ball and blocking downfield, they may come and do well. They may do very well on offense, and that's why I gave them the A, despite the question marks at quarterback and the wide receivers switching over. But there's still some talent there. I don't think wide receiver is something any team really suffers from not having for a long time because they come kind of a dime a dozen. But that's how I feel about them on offense. On defense, they're returning 7. Now, last year's defense was only giving up 19 points a game, 156 on the ground, 167 in the air, which is really, really good. And the defensive line is going to be in rotation until they find the right group. Same thing goes with the defense, with the linebacker group over here. It's going to be in rotation. Some of these guys played a little bit. Some of them haven't. They're going to go in rotation until they find what kind of group that they're going to have. But the secondary is the highlight of the whole thing. They got a bunch of returners. They're ranked second in college football in the defense in the secondary last year. So you got a talent group coming on defense, but I still give them the B because it's too many question marks to be determining what you have at defensive line and linebacker. You really need stud, and that front 7, front 8 got to be stud in football. And if you kind of teetering around right there and relying that your secondary is going to come up and make tackles and defend, you got another thing coming. But I like this Kentucky offense to be able to score and keep the offense on the field enough to give the defense good rest to come in and play well. So I'm high on Kentucky right here. And against Auburn, Auburn's a team that they're ranked number 8, but you've seen this team slip out of the polls time and time again. And just like my man Bull K in the chat right now says, I like Kentucky +8. Was that too long, fellas? I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Listen,
No.
if you want to get on Kentucky, get on them now because that line's it's already shaded at 7.5, like -105, so the number's dropping. And I heard some things about. Well, we watched Kentucky last year. They converted the wide receiver to quarterback. He performed pretty well, I think. And we know about the Auburn's line issues on the offensive side of the ball. Kentucky's defense is pretty good, and they're losing a lot on defense, Auburn is. But they bring in Chad Morris, the former head coach from Arkansas, to help Malzahn call some plays. So, Malzahn, he either wants to call plays or he doesn't. Who the heck knows which way the wind's blowing with him. But they're going to run pretty much the same offense, I think, maybe expand upon it. So he'll probably help Nix out a little bit. But, yeah, the number – I think the value's in the number in this one. I think better than a touchdown, you got to go with Kentucky.
Yeah, I think that way too. There's a little question marks. Wilson, so he's back behind center, with Kentucky now. He missed, 10 games or 11 games? But Kentucky's been good. Last year they were solid. They're great. Their football team was very bad for a long time. And Bo Nix with Auburn, I think their defense will be there. They've been great. But he was so inconsistent. And I know I'm just looking up, he only had 6 interceptions. but that was deceiving. He was not very accurate at all last year. He moved the ball. He's great with his legs, but he was, he made some very poor throws. But he's a guy who can extend plays. And on his legs. So yeah, this is a tough one. But early look. I mean, I take the points, but yeah, I'm still looking. But yeah, that should be a good game. First week too. So let's see.
Yeah, lean Auburn 7.5 or better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's already. I see 7.5 too. If you get 7, you're on the tail end of it. So hop on it now. Make sure you go to odds.com, check out the line movement, check out some of these articles, some of this information, and stay tuned to our shows that come on odds.com. And make sure you hit the subscribe and the like button so that we know you're hanging out with us. And shout out to Bull K in there dropping straight facts in the chat right there. Yeah. We got Nathan Serena comes in and says Auburn easy. So, he fades us all. But that ain't the first time. It won't be the last. But easy, let's jump over to some Florida stuff, man. UCF, after one game, comes and play bottom feeder East Carolina. Is UCF 27 points better than East Carolina? Do they normally come out to the SEC and just grab rank like that because they're UCF? What's going on right here, Big Ragoo?
What's going on? They score a lot of points. That's what's going on. But if you told me 2 years ago this game was going to be played out, I would have to give them 50 points. But East Carolina, they've made some improvements. They were pretty horrible. That's a big number. I was thinking about maybe looking at the total because that's a huge number up there too. It's like 77 points. That's an uphill climb. I don't know. I was kind of leaning towards the under a little bit because I didn't know if you judge the game that they played against Georgia Tech last week, which I'm sure Georgia Tech's a lot better football team than East Carolina at this point in the season. If you go apples for apples, then is East Carolina going to put up 21 points like Georgia Tech did? And if they do, is UCF going to score 50 some odd points? 50, are they going to score 50, 56 points to put the game over? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So if you got a 56-21 total, there's your push. So I lean towards the under here. I don't know if I got to see East Carolina play, and coming off that big win with UCF, I know they're going to have their gas, mashed all the way down. They're not going to let up. They're going to play their game. So it just depends what kind of stop East Carolina gets, and whether UCF lets East Carolina score 21 or better. So I would lean under here.
That's right. Now, my bad. I did jump off track. My screen jumped over to something else. I was going down the games in the SEC, and it jumped out of there. We were supposed to be on Mississippi State and LSU. LSU is favorite. Yeah, we got a freebie. Worries. That was it. That was in Big Ragoo's paid package, and you guys missed that one.
Yeah, paid package.
But that was a freebie right there. But anyways, Mississippi State and LSU. LSU 16.5 points better than Mississippi State, considering all the talent that they lost coming into this year. But what they don't talk about is they still got talent. But what do you guys think in this game? Me, myself, let me just put mine out there. Me, myself, first week at home, SEC is allowing 10 or 20% fans. So there can be some fans in attendance right here. LSU coming off of last year. I think they're going to be underrated, and I think that they cover. But what you guys think about that one?
Go ahead, Conor.
I think LSU, that's my lean, but I just don't love it in this first game. And I haven't dig too deep into it. But that would be my first lean, was them to cover. I don't think it's huge, but the only thing is these first games, just like I said, there's no game like normal, like a game or two before we get right. I mean, every once in a while there's. So this was one I have kind of glanced at because I didn't really like the number on it. But, obviously a new quarterback at LSU. Burrows is gone, but they got loaded. They're loaded everywhere else, and even their new quarterback. So we'll see. That's just my lean.
I mean, I try to stay away from the hype stuff. I mean, just Burrows came over from Ohio State and they put that together. It has a lot to do on coaching, not just personnel.
Yeah.
Now, they did lose a lot of players to the NFL, which mean talent-wise, the talent was there. But if the talent was there, guess what else was there? The backups that were talented was there too. It wasn't like a new regime came and they cleaned out house and they started all over again. They just got better at some stuff that they were doing, and it brought Burrows to the light. But college football is about systems and schemes, not necessarily the individual player. Even though Burrow's doing great, and I love him in the NFL, but this guy has the formula to continue to be a dominant team. We could look back at this next week and say, man, we missed a steal of a deal when it's 42-10 or something like that. What you feel, Big Ragoo?
Well, you got another new coach in the state of Mississippi named Mike Leach. You ever heard of him?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's coming down to the Bulldog territory, and I think this kid, with Costello, I'm hearing some scuttlebutt about, how they're taking to this new 300. They're going to say that they're going to put the ball up a lot and often. And, coming out of the gate, we'll see and we know LSU's loaded up. We know they're going to be there. They're going to replace some pieces, reload, whatever. But the interesting look here is, how are they going to react to what air raid's going to throw at them? We know that they have some solid DBs constantly at LSU. We'll see how they match up with the receivers and what Leach has in plan. So I don't have an opinion on this game, to be honest with you. I'll just kind of read into it a little bit. But I'm going to assume that Leach is going to, try to air it out on him. Whether he's successful or not, that's another story. But maybe we get a slow start from LSU and it kind of evens things out with the number, not so much the game.
maybe this could be an under game. It's just they're just coming out. Who knows?
Yeah.
Very tight. So,
right. That's what.
But Leach isn't going to try to play that. Which how surprised were you guys thinking him going there? I thought it was a little.
Well, not really. He wanted to get to the SEC. He always wanted to coach in the SEC, and I guess that was, I wouldn't say the first opportunity, but that was probably,
jumped at it. Yeah,
he jumped at it. How these coaches, they move around once they get down there. Like I was telling DJ, Bobo is going to be the offensive coordinator, Mike Bobo. Over at South Carolina, he jumped ship from Colorado State, and he knows that Muschamp's probably not going to be there forever. So that's going to open a door for him. So, he played quarterback at Georgia. He was the OC and quarterback's coach at Georgia. So, these guys, once they hang around the SEC, they have a way to find their way back. Even though he was at Texas Tech, he was kind of knocking at the door back then too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
Don't forget his daddy coached at Georgia too.
Yeah.
But let's keep moving on. Georgia and Arkansas. Now, I know you guys probably don't put much into this, but Arkansas was one of those teams I was looking at because they was getting 8 back on offense, 5 back on defense. Now, the 8 on offense on an already broken offense, that's the problem. They were averaging 21 points last year, 147 on the ground, 192 in the air. But they bring over Felipe Franks, who they had on the shelf for a minute, and they still consider it a quarterback race, but he may be the guy. I'm not exactly sure who they went with, but, we all assume they didn't get Felipe Franks to put him on the bench. But the O-line is just not set up for the SEC. Like, they just don't recruit players that match up long-term in the SEC. So they may have some trouble in the SEC, but they may get away with some things outside the conference. Now, at running back, they get a couple of transfers along with Boyd, and the most experienced group on offense is the wide receiver group, which all matters if Felipe Franks can give them the ball. And once again, on the Paul Feinbaum, all the folks over there in Arkansas, they say they finally got the coach in Sam Pittman and that this is the year for them to do it, and they coming after Georgia. But that's just normal down south rhetoric that you hear all the time from these faithful fans of college football down there.
Yeah.
But the problem here is the defense. I gave the defense a C. With 5 returners in there, the defense was already bleeding. They're upside down on their card note. They're giving up 36 points a game, and they're only scoring 21 points. Even if they up the offense a little more, they're still not going to be nothing because they won't have enough defense. So in this one, opening against Georgia, even though Georgia's on the road and they're going to be fired up with all the rhetoric, I think Georgia may go ahead and cover on these boys. What y'all think?
Go ahead,
Rick. Okay. Yeah, as much as I would want to take Arkansas, the way they played the last few years, I just can't do it. Like you said, Franks is there. They were 2-10 last year. They couldn't stop anybody. Even with Georgia changing quarterbacks, and I guess they're kind of going to have a system with Daniels, maybe the redshirt freshman Mathis. I'm not sure, but even with that, they could cover here. So it's a stay off game for me because I'm always looking as a home dog like this. It's still the SEC, but Arkansas hasn't been Arkansas probably in 5 years, maybe a little long. I mean, pretty good where they haven't been like 6-6 or 8-4. They've been 2-10 the last few years. They've been really bottom of the barrel. So it's a stay away from me because, like you said, this could be a Georgia cover, but I'm not on it with first game between these two guys here. What about you, Ragoo?
Okay. So when Morris went to help out Auburn, they hired Sam Pittman as the coach from Georgia. That was the biggest head scratcher. A line coach they brought in. The team desperately needed to generate some offense, and put some get the recruiting process going and all that. We know that Pittman is real familiar with the Georgia system, so whether he's got the talent to kind of put up against him, which I doubt. Now they get Kendall Briles, who I liked, when Florida State had him under Taggart, but they never employed any of his system because Taggart was doing all the play calling back then. But anyways, they're going to be a work in progress. This could be a whole lot of ass whooping going on here early in the season for Arkansas. So yeah. I wouldn't touch this game with your money. But if you put it, here we go. If you put a gun in my head, I'm laying the wood with Georgia here.
There you go. Well, let's go ahead and jump into real quick because there ain't gonna be much you can say about Alabama and Missouri. I think Saban's on the mission. Wouldn't surprise me. I hear the up and cutting.
How many points is that?
27.
Or 27.
I hear the up and coming quarterback over there is a lot better than what's been there, and that they may be quiet, but they may be on the move.
They're never going to be quiet in Alabama. They might have a little lull, with the quarterback situation. But Jones, he's going to pick up right where they left off, and he started. I think he picked up 3 games when Tua went down, and did good work there. So Alabama is going to be Bama. They'll be right in the thick of it. They'll be playing in the playoffs. They'll go up against LSU or play Georgia. It'll be Georgia versus LSU or LSU versus Florida or Florida versus Bama. One of those 4 teams. But I picked Tennessee as an upset special at 100-1. If they get there, we'll see. That was one of my early picks. Yep, I got $100 on Tennessee to cash out big. I'm hoping they win. That's when they had to open up onto the old system. But now I think it's tougher Slater playing in conference, believe it or not, because the conference games are a little easier. Yeah, so it's going to be
less confident boosters.
Yeah. It's going to be tougher to get there, even though they had to open up Oklahoma and Florida back to back. But anyways, Alabama is going to be Bama. They'll be okay. And another big number here, whether there's value in that line, I can't say so, but just I don't know. Missouri, I got to break down the Missouri side on the defense, which I haven't done yet there. But against Alabama's offense, I don't think it's going to be a non-issue.
No. Same thing. I haven't broke down this much either and thought about it this game. I will, though, before Saturday. Because I don't know if there's value. Here we go. Another 28-27, spread. So, and week 1, like I said, both teams haven't played. So Yeah, I got to take a look at it. Yeah.
I got to be honest.
There's been a bunch of COVID tests, I guess, positive for Missouri. Yeah, I got to dig into kind of.
I didn't even know that either. But I was going to say, generally speaking, on these bigger double digits, I'm leaning more towards the dogs, maybe with the exception of maybe Arkansas and Vanderbilt, possibly. But all the other mid-tier teams with the points, if it's double digits, I'm leaning that way.
I agree.
Hey, that walks me into the next one, which is Vanderbilt and Texas A&M. Now, Vandy has some issues with practicing early. They had a bunch of issues, with the COVID thing. That's Vanderbilt is, that's an academic school right there in the SEC. Lo and behold, so they were very cautious. They may be working on the cure. We never know, but they play this Texas A&M team, and I'm high on this Texas A&M team. Jimbo Fisher, third year here. Now, Big Ragoo, no, I'm high on third year and fourth year coaches. And this one I get Jimbo Fisher with this Texas A&M team that was 8-5 last year and 4-4 in the conference. And more importantly to me is that their ATS was 7-6 and over under was 4-9. So good defense coming out of there. I gave them an A on offense, 8 returners. It's a balanced team. They run just as much as they pass, which is always good when the offense is balanced. They're bringing in a talented 4-year starter, increasing with passing yards with this blocking he's going to get from this experienced group that they bringing back on at the O-line as well. But this group right here needs to get a little better at pass blocking. They do pretty well on run blocking. They can improve a little bit on pass blocking, and that's what all they had all this time for, is to improve. So they got a nice running back setup right here, going to be rolling dual running backs. And then they got the experienced wide receiver group, and of course they're Texas A&M. They got weapons down there, And to add to that, they got 2 tight ends. Now that tells you a lot when a team got 2 tight ends. That means they're willing to distribute the ball all the way across the field. They want to play the whole thing. So I expect them to be pretty high powered on offense. Now, last year the offense averaged 29.5 points a game, and I expect that to go up quite a few points this year going into this one with a defense that comes back in a 4-2-5, nice big size experienced group, played pretty good last year. They got some linebackers in there that can tackle. They're coming back, and they also got a very talented secondary with seniors on the corner spots on both sides of the field. So I think Texas A&M, just as much as Big Ragoo likes that Tennessee, I might have to go drop a little something on Texas A&M. I think Jimbo Fisher is the guy that might be able to change the trends over here at this team, and that they're putting all of spots together. They're in the third year. He's got a few tricks up his sleeve that he recruited himself, along with players that's been buying into the system, and this may be a time for Texas A&M, maybe not to win the conference, but they may upset one of the top teams this year in the SEC. So in this one right here against this itty-bitty Vanderbilt school right here, who was already, tearing down, but, they hold the world together because they're so smart. So I don't want to be too bad on them. They might save my life. But I think Texas A&M runs all through them, and I'll lay the 31 with Texas A&M.
Wow. It's huge. Big number. Big. That's the biggest number on the board, isn't it? 31.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's friggin' huge.
You know what they say about that? The line setters can only set it so high. I mean, if they couldn't pick a spot by 31, they got to be thinking it's going like 52-0 or something.
You know what's comical about that? The line's 31, right? And the total is what, 46 and a half?
Yeah.
I mean, are they the only ones that are going to score any points in that game? Is that what they're basically telling you? Although, I think if you go back, I want to say 18. I think Vandy was like in the high 20s, low 30s point wise, and then last year, I think they averaged like 14 points a game. I think the last 3 games they averaged 8 points. I was going by what I looked at earlier, but yeah, that's huge. I don't know, 31's a lot, and the total being 46 and change. 46 and a half, 46. There's not much room for error for them to give up an extra score in there somewhere. So I'm just saying, if you like the under, you got to lean towards Vandy. If you like the over, you got to go with Texas A&M.
Agree. Yeah, I think Texas A&M wins this pretty easy. I'm not going to lay that, but Munn's back. They should be a lot better. Their top receiver opted out though, Osborne, and one of their best linebackers, Hines, is out too. He opted out. So I don't know if it's that huge, but Munn was good, but he was kind of in pressure situations. He was good. He was great in like kind of junk time. He came back well during the year. I'm sure he can pick apart this Commodores defense, which it will not be good.
Yeah, I think they got one key piece. I think they got one key piece coming back on defense, and I think they got a brand new. And then they said they lost their best players on offense, which go figure. They lost their quarterback and a couple wide receivers. So all the new key pieces coming off of a productive 14-point a game season, and you got to start over there. So you got nowhere to go but up, I would guess. But
yep, you're right. So that would be it. Boss is on that. That'd be it here for me. It's just a lot of points, but it's college football. And I could see it. And the over-under, like you said, at 46, and the spread's 31. Come on. They're thinking, this is a blowout. This could be, 50-7 or, something. Just, yeah. So maybe first half is the best spot. First half, I'm not sure what it is, but probably first half make more sense. Bench, and that might be a look. Yeah. You could get it maybe at 18. I don't know what it would be. 19. I can look it up.
We've been seeing in these matchups, like when Clemson came out against some of those smaller schools, it's 28 points the first half off top. So I think maybe 28 zip first half, that'll do it.
Yeah, I think what was the Clemson number? It was like 41 for the game, and the first half number was 35.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the week before that with Clemson. I forgot who they played, but the week before that, they came out, covered first half.
Wake Forest
28, it was 28-0. They covered that first half. I'm not sure if they covered the game, but
how about last week though? They were up 49-0 and the final score was 49-0.
Yeah, I don't know how they pulled that off.
0-0, both teams, nothing. Second half. Zilch.
That's crazy. But now besides the Florida game with Ole Miss, this may be one of the best games on the SEC card for this week, and that's Tennessee and South Carolina. Y'all make sure y'all take a trip over to Oz.com in a few days. My man Big Ragoo got a smoking new article that he's going to drop over there. So y'all make sure y'all check that out in depth. Now, I'm going to go on it because I know Big Ragoo got a lot to say about this one. But I capped it a little bit today. I got third-year coach Dummy Pruitt. Now, we all know Tennessee started off on the wrong foot last year and closed out the season really well. Now, going into this one, they were 8-5 last year, 5-3 in the SEC. They were 4-9 over under, and they were 7-6 ATS. So that 4-9 shows that they did have defense last year to get those underdames going in there. Now, on offense, at quarterback, I gave him a B+. At quarterback, they got a senior Garanano, who has his ups and downs. He could be a problem in there, but I'm pretty sure they got some guys well prepared behind them that may be able to step in. Now, they do have a top-notch, talented, experienced O-line with NFL prospects on it, and that's a big, big, big thing right here for Tennessee coming in this year. These guys are want to play well. They want to go next level. They had an organization that can take them next level, and they got to show and improve. So they got to open up the lane for Ty Chandler, and Ty Chandler got to get a little help so they can have a 1-2 punch at running back. But wide receiver is where they're least experienced, but I'm a believer that wide receivers are a dime a dozen. You could teach some guys, to be decent wide receivers. So they look good on the offensive side of the ball because of the O line, but the quarterback situation right there, that was what scares me. That's why I gave him a B plus instead of an A. But other than that, I like what they got going on this year. Last year they ran the ball for 144 on the ground, 221 in the air, which is okay. They could improve one of those, and if you want to be a top caliber team, you got to put a little more pressure on your rushing or your passing. So with this group that they have this year, if the quarterback comes in and does what he's supposed to do, they definitely can increase in rushing or in passing. So I like Tennessee for that factor. Now on defense, they got 8 returning over there. Last year defense wasn't bad. They only gave up 21 points a game, 140 on the ground, 194 in the air, which is mediocre in college football, but it's definitely tending towards the right side. So they could trim up on some of that passing yards this year. They could trim up on some of that rushing yards if they want to be a competitive team. And being that you got 8 returners coming over, that gives you the players you need to be able to do that. Now, if they could do it, that's really up to them. Like, coaches only coach these players so far before it becomes their duty to go to the next level. Now, at defensive line, they got senior 3 down linemen, so I expect the pass rush to be intense and the rush defense to improve. So that's how we cut down on those running yards. And then at running back, they're returning T-O-O-O, but he'll also have some new talent with him to fill in. He was an SEC, all SEC guy last year, so it's not so much what type of linebackers you get. The best thing you need is linebackers who can tackle. So if he brings along some more tacklers with him, 1 or 2 is good enough, and they should be solid in there. And then at the secondary, that's their most talented group right there. Now, they did give up 194 last year, and this year I expect that to improve even more. So with the improvements on offense and defense, gives Tennessee that extra little notch to be a top competitive team this year. And I like Tennessee a lot. But the South Carolina team, week 1 coming out, anything is possible that can happen right here. They're going to be tuned up just as well. I didn't get a chance to go over their stats just as well. I kind of just went over teams that I kind of like because they had a lot of returners or they had a lot of returners on the offensive line. Those are my edges. But this one right here, South Carolina, I'm going to kind of sit it out, but I hope and pray that Tennessee knocks on their door and let them know that they for real in 2020. Y'all got something to say on that one?
Go ahead, Ragoo. You got this.
Anyways, I got the article. Check it out tomorrow, but I'll kind of highlight some of the key points of the article. So we're talking the Gamecocks. We know that they have the toughest schedule in the country right now, and they had probably one of the toughest last year. Also, Muschamp's on the hot seat. They get Bobo from, like I said, coming in from Colorado State. He's an SEC guy. He played at Georgia quarterback. He was the OC. He was the head the quarterback's coach at Georgia also. So they're kind of Muschamp's trying to save his job. Basically, is what he's doing. He's bringing in the one of the guys that's well familiar in the SEC. Whether he's got the talent, Helinski was the quarterback last year. He had some issues talent-wise. They have their offensive struggles. On the defensive side, they're not bad. They're giving up about 22 points a game on average, and Tennessee scoring in the 20s also. So that matchup there is going to be the key to the game for South Carolina is how they're going to attack the run. I think points-wise, if they struggle early, this game can. I don't think it's going to get out of control, but I think it hits the number as far as the mark goes. I think Tennessee can get up, this victory, get out of there, Columbia with about a 10-point win, possibly 10 to 14 points, if South Carolina struggles moving the ball. But that's the thing. The Tennessee defense, they have solid linebacker core. The DBs are not bad. Just the defensive line. And you get a good push, but they can never make the plays in the backfield, and they have a hard time really stopping, the first point of attack. So they're gonna have to clean that up on defense if they want to move up, to compete against the Floridas and the Georgias. But they definitely got the talent. They've recruited like a banshee. They have like the number 2 recruiting class going in 2021. They got a lot of 5-star talent, 4-star talent. So this Tennessee team is definitely loaded up as far as talent goes. And like DJ was saying, Pruitt's in his 3rd year. Pruitt's a national championship team with Florida State on. He was the offensive coordinator for them when they won the national championship. So they got a lot of things going right in Tennessee. And South Carolina is going a different direction. They're trying to save grace this season. So I think the 3 points looks good here with Tennessee. And I look for this game to go over the total also. I like the minus the 3, and I like over the 42.5 is the total. I think the game goes over.
Yeah. Do you think Colin Hill can do anything, with starting in South Carolina? I mean, I don't. That's why, I lean your way too. That's why I don't love him being, they're, of course they're going to feel good. South Carolina always a solid football team, but I couldn't trust Colin Hill. I don't know. He came from Colorado State, which Ragoo, I know a lot Mountain West here in Vegas. I see it. So, and I didn't think he ever was much of nothing. Right. So
they brought him in just in case for Helinski there. So
and they said he beat him out. I think it's going to be a 2 quarterback system.
Wow. Okay.
He's going to get the start, but I think it's going to be a 2 quarterback system.
I think so too. When they struggle, they're going to pull the plug like they always do. Yeah. They're going to go back. I see a lot of that going on this year. They're going to try to find their way. And you're right. That's a great point by you. I can see that happening a lot till they kind of figure things out and they'll have their struggles. Yeah. And the SEC is not a great place to be experimenting with offenses, especially against the tough defenses. So, they're going to be up against it.
Yeah, the Vols at least will have one thing, like you said. I think they have a pretty solid defense. The Vols. Yeah. You can count on that. I think this year for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
And, well, man, that sure did take up a lot of time, but it definitely was some awesome information that we helped the people with out, and we had a great group in the chat. Our guy Maxwell Sparks stopped by. Scott John, Bull K's been here with us the whole time, and Nathan Serena's been here with us also. And earlier we had a lot of other people come stop by. I don't know if they're still with us or not, but we appreciate y'all. Oh, I forgot Scooty and Ricky Butt channel. I don't know what all that is about, but he stopped by too. But it's all good. So we appreciate all y'all for coming in and hanging out with us. Any other looks y'all want to throw out there before we go? Because we got to be right back on the same channel right here, odds.com. So if you haven't hit subscribe yet so you can get the notifications with the bell, now might be the time to do it so that when we come on Saturday morning, early in the morning on the West Coast, it's only going to be 8:30. But on the East Coast, it's going to be 11:30. So it'll be a little later for y'all. But come join us on Saturday. I'm definitely digging in for some other game. I think I got my SEC out the way. I'm twiddling with the Sun Belt a little bit. And I'm definitely going to go in maybe some of those Big 12 games and maybe a little AAC. I'm not sure. But I'm definitely going to take some looks at some stuff and meet us back here on Saturday to check us out live early in the morning, dropping hot picks. Anything else y'all want to tell these people, man?
No, boss, you said it. We'll get into some of the other games like Texas Tech, maybe Georgia Southern, the Raging Cajuns, Lafayette. We'll get into a few of those on Saturday real quick. Break those down. I know SEC's back. We were heavy on it, just as our preview, but we're going to touch on those on Saturday. So everybody will get to that for sure. Yeah. So
that's a fact. I'm looking at this Army Cincinnati game. I'm breaking that one down. I have a lean on that one, but we'll talk about that one on Saturday morning.
Perfect.
Yeah, so come hang out with us Saturday morning. If Big Ragoo's feeling good that morning, he's gonna sing. It's gonna be a treat. You guys never seen this before. But we're gonna have a lot of fun, man. I really think, it'll be deep to my heart if I could get Conor Mack to beatbox and Big
All right.
Ragoo to rap on Saturday's show. I mean, just
All right.
2 bars, not even a lot of bars, just 2 bars.
All right.
Like, hey,
All right.
what's up, folks? We own the show. Bam. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna be live from Vegas because I'll be back out there. Conor
Cool.
Mack, we definitely got to hang out this weekend. The
We
kids are
do.
staying home, so I'm gonna be out
Perfect.
there with Dutch and Ski
I
Profit, a
gotta
couple
meet.
other ones, and we're gonna be hanging out.
I will be there for sure.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I will definitely be there. Oh,
You
you'll
guys
be
know,
out
right?
here soon, though,
Big
Ragoo.
Ragoo.
Yeah, couple about 4 or 5 weeks. Right after the day after the election, I'm gonna get drunk and I'm gonna come out to Vegas.
Hey, I'll come on live, Big Ragoo from Ping Pang Pong.
There you go. Serve it up, mix it up, eat it up, drink it up, do it all.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I
boys.
enjoyed it. We want to thank
Later.
everybody for coming in tonight.
Yeah,
we'll see you
everybody.
Saturday morning, 11:30 Eastern, 8:30 on the West Coast.
Go. Later, boys.